sheets at least. Yeah, I saw this in the closet.
Okay,
Yeah.
we're good.
Okay.
Good evening. I'd like to call this June 13th meeting of the Hillsdale Borough Planning Land Use Board to order. We'll begin with the open public meeting statement read by our Deputy Secretary, Tanya Gennaro, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
This meeting is being held in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act. The notice of this meeting was published in 2 newspapers according to law, and time and place of this meeting have been posted in a prominent location in Borough Hall. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please, Tanya.
Chairwoman Cates,
Here.
Vice Chair Reardon,
Here.
Secretary Raymond, Mr. Alter,
Here.
Mr. Friedman,
Here.
Mr. Griep,
Here.
Ms. Guzman,
Here.
Dr. Weinberg, Mr. Samarco,
Here.
Council Liaison Chohimuk, Mayor Scheinfeld.
Here.
Also present, Board Attorney Mr. Liebman and Board Engineer Mr. Sitio.
Thank you, Tanya. At this time, I will open the meeting to the public. This is for any items or issues other than those that we will hear tonight listed on our agenda or that may come before the board on another evening. Is there anyone that would like to speak to the board at this time? Seeing none, I'll close the meeting to the public, and we'll move on to invoices that need approval. And we'll start with CSG Law. We have 3 invoices for a total of $1,166.50. And 2 of those are escrow, right, Tanya?
I have to just look, I don't know. off the
You,
top. Yeah, anyone with a name is an escrow.
do I have a motion for approval?
Motion.
Steve Reardon? Second, Ed Alter?
Chairwoman Cates,
Yes.
Vice Chair Reardon,
Yes.
Mr. Alter,
Yes.
Mr. Friedman,
Yes.
Mr. Griep,
Yes.
Ms. Guzman,
Yes.
Mr. Samarco,
Yes.
Mayor Scheinfeld.
Yes.
Motion's passed.
Thank you. We have meeting minutes to approve from our May 28th, 2024 meeting. Please look those over, and as you're ready, I'll take a motion.
Motion to pass the May 28th minutes.
Thank you, Mayor Scheinfeld. Second? Second, Mr. Griep.
Chairwoman Cates,
Yes.
Mr. Alter,
Yes.
Mr. Friedman, Mr. Griep,
Yes.
Ms. Guzman,
Yes.
Mr. Samarco,
Yes.
Mayor Scheinfeld.
Yes.
Motion's passed.
Thank you. We have a resolution for approval. This is PZ0624, Block 2201, 5 Strawberry Hill Road. This was the 6-foot fence front yard. So people that voted for the application will be voting on the resolution.
You approved 5.
Yes, I'm sorry, the hearing was for 6. We approved a 5. Thank you for the correction. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion.
Mr. Griep?
Second.
Mr. Samarco?
Chairwoman Cates,
Yes.
Mr. Alter,
Yes.
Mr. Friedman,
Yes.
Mr. Griep,
Yes.
Ms. Guzman. Yes. Mr. Samarco,
Yes.
Mayor Scheinfeld.
Yes.
Motion's passed.
Thank you. So our first hearing is a continuation of the hearing for 11 Ellen Court, Ontario Cortez, covered patio rear setback. Applicants, please approach the microphone. Welcome back. Who do you have with you this evening? Just the contractor and yourselves. Okay, so can you update the board on what you've done since we last saw you here?
Sure. We updated the survey. The survey company added in the proposed plans, as well as updated the impervious coverage as requested. We also included the architect plans that were requested as well.
Okay, and I'm sorry, can you please again state your name and address for the record?
Sure. Antero Cortez, 11 Ellen Court in Hillsdale.
Okay, thank you. Okay. In a moment, Chris, do you have any comments on this? These, they're not revised plans, but on these more detailed plans?
Yeah, they have provided, as the board had asked at the last meeting, they provided architectural plans, which I have here, and they provided a site plan by Morgan Engineering as well, so you should have both of those plans in front of you tonight.
Thank you, Chris. Okay. I just have an announcement that a member, Mr. Greep, he listened to the entire recording and viewed it, correct?
I did.
And so he will be able to vote on this matter taking place tonight, and he's certifying that he's familiar with and examined any exhibits that were submitted in the proceedings, so he can vote. He'll be voting tonight. Thank you, Tony. Do you have anything you want to say before we ask the questions?
You're good.
Okay, so the board's going to ask you some questions now about what you have submitted. We'll start with Mr. Reardon.
All right, so we don't have the engineer or the architect here to
No, they haven't
field
brought,
questions? Okay. Just the AC condenser, it keeps showing up back in the center of this thing. Is that being moved?
It is not being moved.
No. So it's going to stay in the center of this new patio over here?
Correct.
Doors coming out?
We're going to enclose it with just, either some greenery or, a small little wooden.
Where is that in relation? Aren't you putting a door, I'm sorry, a door that's coming out?
The AC is actually slid, it's over a little bit, it's not really.
The AC is actually not being
You
moved.
have that picture?
It's actually off to the side. It's not in the middle. For some reason, it's off scale on here.
So on the site plan, it's not in the right location?
Correct.
No,
It's
like
staying exactly
5 or
the same.
6. Do you have a picture of the house on your phone? Remember?
Yeah, it should be in the pictures still from the original file.
do you have the picture?
That is not moving.
But when it's on the outside of the patio, it will be encased in some greenery.
All right, my only question, it looks like, the way I'm looking at it, it's covered by the proposed roof.
Yeah,
So
it's not.
No.
It's not.
Okay, fair enough. I have no further questions at the moment.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Reardon. Mr. Alter?
Yes. I'm looking at the revised survey, and it shows the setback as 25.1. But does that go to the fireplace that's supposedly sticking out?
So the fireplace is not sticking out. I think we agreed last
Because on
time
the
it was
first
going to be.
drawings, this fireplace extends another foot.
The computer rendering just shows a bump out. It was just a rendering. The survey that I had originally drawn on, and this one, shows how it mimics the frame, just like the patio. It's just the computer rendering showed it protruding a little bit, but it doesn't.
So
It's just a
it will not
flaw in the
extend the
system.
setback at all?
It'll be flush with the roof.
Okay, that was my only question. Thank you.
Mr. Reardon, can you just state your name also and who you are again? Remind the
Mine?
board, yes.
Gaetano
for our
Mill
record.
With Patio Paradise.
Okay, and you're a contractor, correct?
Yes.
Thank you.
I was here at the first meeting.
Right,
so-
we're just, it's a new record tonight, so we're repeating that information. Mr. Samarco, do you have any questions?
No, thank you.
Okay, Mr. Greep?
I don't, and as you noted, I did watch the last meeting. The questioning was extremely thorough. I appreciate you coming back with more clear information and updated plans, so I don't have any questions at this time.
Thank you.
Okay, Mayor Scheinfeld?
No, I'm good. I'm good.
All right, Mr. Friedman?
Just confirm, so the variances that you're going for, is the rear yard setback, there are two variances, one for the rear yard setback and one for the fireplace?
Well, rear yard setback would be the fireplace.
So it's just the one?
Just the one, just see the one variance.
Okay. Right, that's all I have.
Okay. Ms. Guzman? Okay.
I have just one more.
Mr. Alter?
Chris, did we determine that there's no need for an impervious coverage?
Variance, correct.
Variance.
There's no need for below the ground.
Thank you.
Okay. Now, Mr. Liebman, if you want to tell us how we completed this time, or maybe sum up what you said last time about what we're voting on here with the variance.
So this would be a C2 variance. We call this the flexible C. The purposes of the municipal land use law are advanced by the application. There's adequate light, air, and open space. It reflects continued investment in your residential stock and your single-family neighborhoods. It promotes them. There's the appropriate density in the appropriate place. There's all the purposes in 40:55D-2 that are advanced. There's no detriment or no substantial detriment to the zone plan or the zoning ordinance. That's the standard. There has to be substantial detriment. That doesn't exist. We talked about some conditions at the last meeting that I just want to remind the board about. One would be that an as-built survey be provided if the application is approved. The applicant will comply with impervious coverage requirements, and that'll be confirmed in an as-built survey. Construction details for a seepage pit to be provided. There'll be a 500-gallon minimum seepage pit installed. I think the testimony was that the proposal actually was 800 gallons. Test pits will be required prior to permitting. Obviously, Mr. Steele will inspect them. My notes from the last meeting said the HVAC is to remain in place. That's correct?
That's correct.
I don't think we need to make that a condition. If you want to move your HVAC, move your HVAC. There was a note that I had that the board wants an increase in the planting to the rear to shield the neighbors. Landscaping planting plan to be approved by the board engineer. Is the fire pit going to be gas, or are you going to do wood?
Gas.
You're going to be gas, okay. All right, so my suggestion to the board is I don't think that you should make that a requirement. You could if you want to. I think they should have some flexibility if they want that. And the drainage is going to go from the hardscaping and the roofing to the new 10 by 10 by 3 stormwater system in the southeast corner. Those are the notes that I have.
Can I just ask a
Yes.
point of inquiry? We wanted to make sure that it couldn't be enclosed at any point. Does that
Right.
have to be contained within?
I will include that just for the sake of clarity.
Complicit, okay.
You know, sure, we can
Okay.
put that in. I mean, if you want to get like really belt and suspenders about this, you could insist on a deed restriction also, but
I don't think
I think
that's
that's kind
necessary.
of overkill, honestly.
Okay.
Is there anyone that would like to, some of those conditions that were not necessarily going to be in there, like the gas fireplace? Is anyone on the board feeling like we need other conditions?
I just want to make a note on their survey. Note number 6 says all roof leaders shall be directed towards Ellen Court. That should be struck because they're going to be going towards the pit. That's
Yes.
all. Just homework, you know.
Yep.
And then, I mean, we're going for a rear yard setback, which is 50 required. We're almost granting something that is half of what is required.
Yeah.
So I just want to put that out there.
Yeah.
If I could just throw something out, I know we said not enclosed, but I don't want them to put screens in, and then all of a sudden, is that an enclosure? Is that not an enclosure?
I think the idea was basically behind it to make sure that it couldn't be enclosed so that you could put something up on top of it, that it wasn't a structure that would be permanent to the house. That was, so however you have to word it, that was the general idea behind it.
I'm going to word it that screening can be installed, because I can envision somebody saying, I'm getting mosquito bites out here, why do we have this space? We can't use it, there's too many bugs. Like, I think the zoning officers out there giving them a summons, we're back. I think the idea is you don't want to make it living space that can be used. you know.
Right.
I think to the extent of screening, it's what it is.
Any other questions or comments?
Yeah, I got one. So you talk about the fireplace being the gas fireplace. Is that going to give off heat?
It's a ventless unit, so it's very minimal heat. A lot of the ones, I'm sorry, my eyes, guys, if some of you are looking at me, they're injured and got burned, so I'm sorry. I'm totally fine, I promise. I know it looks bad. The new modern sleek ones that we do, they give off minimal heat. There is no chute, they're 100% ventless. So there's no, especially with it being encased in stone, and we still to code have to fireproof it. Not every township requires it, but we still do it anyway. They might ask for it here. I don't know if that's what, maybe I'm jumping the gun, but it gives off extremely minimal heat. It's honestly more for aesthetics than anything. When you're sitting in front of it, you will gain some heat.
Yeah, I remember you from the last meeting saying that it didn't give off any heat.
What's that?
The
Very minimal,
fireplace.
very minimal, yeah. And like I said, there's such a contained unit, especially these new ones. They have no venting system or anything. They're 100% ventless.
Yeah, no.
So sorry if maybe I'm wording it a little differently.
I wasn't clear.
People don't
It
install.
wasn't clear it was gas.
Gotcha, yeah.
After the last meeting.
Okay, yeah. Hence, they're much safer, you know.
Right. Thank you.
You will.
Any other questions or comments from the board? Dan?
Just for the attorney, is it possible also to add a stipulation that there's no vertical, that the variance doesn't extend vertically, or?
So it's going to be an approval based on the plans that are submitted. We have the architectural plans that have measurements on them, and that will be referenced in the resolution. So you can't build anything taller, wider.
Okay.
They have to build to the specs.
Yeah, those are the specs.
Okay. Because I know sometimes once you get that, people can go up. So
Yeah,
that's-
no, they would have to come back to the board.
Okay.
Anything else? Okay, so at this time, I would be looking for a motion. Oh, sorry, let me open the meeting to the public for any comments on this hearing
Or questions?
or questions from the public.
For what it's worth, I don't want to put them on the spot, but we did bring 4 of our direct neighbors.
Yeah.
Bring 'em up.
in the
Yeah,
in-
we'd like you to come up if you're here, if you're
It's like a
comfortable
bad
enough.
golf
Thank you.
course. That's
I won't trust them on a golf course, but I'll trust them in front of you all.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
going to work right through this
absolutely.
really quickly. Okay, I'm going to ask you all to raise your right hands, please, and be sworn. Do you swear or affirm testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Okay. All right, we're going to start with you, sir, on my right-hand side. Tell me your name.
Noah Lerman. Noah Lerman.
Noah, spell your last name.
Lerman.
And where do you live?
Across the street. 4
Address,
Maryland.
please.
4 Maryland Lane.
4 Maryland Lane.
Yep.
How long have you lived there?
A little over 3 years.
You've seen the plans that are the subject of the application?
Roughly, yes.
Okay. You have no objection to the application?
No objections.
Do you support the application?
Yes.
Next. Your name, sir?
Kevin Sullivan. I'm at 7 Ellen Court. I'm directly next to Antero.
7 Ellen Court. Have you seen the plans?
I have.
Do you like the plans?
Yes,
Do you want a backyard just like this?
I do.
Or you can be filing an application?
I am not. Not at this time.
You don't object to it?
No
Do
objection.
you support it?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir. Sir, your name?
Gary Tepper?
Tepper?
Correct.
Okay, your address, please?
835 Hillsdale Ave.
Have you seen the plans?
I have.
Do you like the plans?
I do.
Do you support the application?
Yes.
Is everybody in Hillsdale going to want one of these now?
Totally.
Should we rewrite the ordinance to stop it from that?
So this is why I usually do this, not him.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Sir, your name
David Johnson,
and your address, please.
5 Maryland Lane.
Have you seen the plans?
Yes.
Do you like the plans?
Yes, I'm good with it.
Do you support the application?
I do.
Okay, thank you very much. Is that everybody? Yeah, you can.
So, board, if you have any questions for the neighbors, you can bring them as well, if there are any. Okay. Anything else I need to do before?
No, you can.
Okay, so, board, any other questions, or else I'll look for a motion if there is one for this application.
Don't all jump up at once.
Well, I got a question.
Okay, well, we don't have a motion, so go ahead.
Okay. So so I see 11 Ellen Court. I noticed the one gentleman lives across the street in Ellen Court. So who's going to be staring at this thing? Which one? You're going to be staring at it? So you live behind them? Oh, no, I live next.
He needs to come up so he can be on the mic if he's going to speak.
I'm sorry.
No, it's not his fault.
I'm sorry, was this Kevin?
Yeah, can you just,
This
we
is
need
going
to.
to directly
Hold
affect
on one
the person
second.
behind you.
Yes.
On L Road.
Who's that?
That's our neighbor Steve behind us.
Is he
Who's
here?
not here?
He's not here. He
Okay.
has a family.
Okay, that's all I wanted to know. You don't have to talk.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So I do have messages from him and text message, totally fine. He's
Okay.
fully supportive of it. He
Okay.
just.
No, I was just wondering, because you were all sitting here.
But I
Ask the
did-
guy who would affect the most.
I did talk to him personally. Again, he is 100% willing to write a letter if need be.
Is it time for a motion?
Unless there's another question.
I have one more question, I'm sorry.
Told you.
You
Okay.
just have to wait
Go
1
ahead.
minute. This is to the neighbors. Are any of you concerned about water runoff from the impervious coverage being placed on the roof of this thing?
Yeah, thank you for coming forward.
Or do you
and
have any water issues
we
coming
just-
from the property now?
No, I have no water issues at this point.
Can you
So-
just give us your name again?
Yep, Kevin Sullivan.
Thank you.
So based on the plans and the tank you're talking about and where it's going to, I don't have any concerns with the water.
Thank you.
And no flooding issues in your that you know of in your area?
What's that? What was that?
Do you have flooding issues currently?
Do not.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Mr. Reardon, second, Dan Friedman.
A second with conditions as mentioned by the attorney.
With the conditions as specified earlier by our attorney, correct?
Sir, can you just repeat, it was Vice Chair Reardon and,
And Dan.
Dan
Okay.
Friedman?
Yes.
okay,
Thank you.
all right. Vice Chair Reardon,
Yes.
Mr. Alter,
Yes.
Mr. Friedman,
Yes.
Mr. Grieb,
Yes.
Mr. Samarco,
Yes.
Mayor Scheinfeld,
Yes.
Chairwoman Cates.
Yes.
Motion's passed.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Enjoy.
And by the way, we're not blanketing giving them to all of you, so, but thank you for being here.
We won't even be looking for a hot dog, a grill. There you go.
Okay. Thank you, everyone.
Appreciate it.
Goodbye.
Good neighbors that came all the way down for you.
Bye-bye.
Okay, we have our next hearing, which is PZ 0724, Block 2201, Lot 20.
Do you have the originals for me?
Yeah, sure.
I
This
do. Can I
is
give them to you after the
7
meeting?
Whenever you have a moment, I just
Cherry
don't want you to
Hill
leave
Court.
without a copy.
Is this one of the biggest plans I've ever seen?
We're just going to need a moment just to get
not a
ready.
problem.
Sure.
Put away the old stuff. Just get out of it.
Can you tell me your client's last name, how to pronounce that correctly? Sabati?
I believe so. Sabate. Sabate.
Okay, this is for a single-family home addition and a side yard setback. Our attorney will swear you in this evening.
Sure. I'm the attorney for the applicant, so I'm going to give a brief opening, and then we can call the witness, if that's okay. Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board. Matthew Capizzi on behalf of the applicant. This is an application at 7 Cherry Hill Court. This lot is located essentially at the end of the bulb in the cul-de-sac. And as a result of its location on the cul-de-sac, the lot has kind of an awkward shape to it. The front and rear lot lines are of inconsistent widths, with the front lot line being much narrower than the rear, and the side lot lines flare out from one another. So as the lot goes from front to rear, it does increase in width, but essentially the lot doesn't meet the zone's minimum lot width requirement until you get about 100 to 125 feet into the lot. The reason why I illustrate these factors for you is because they are the driving factor behind the request for the single variance that's before the board this evening, which is for a combined side yard setback variance. The home, as it's situated on the site, is located somewhat central, but still at a point where the lot width is not conforming, and the combined side yard setback requirement is a component of the average lot width, which gives you essentially an unrealistic, or I should say, a less than perfect assessment of the lot width of a lot. Because of its ever-changing lot width, there isn't a true average. And so you end up with essentially somewhat of an enhanced combined side yard setback requirement. The lot itself is improved with a single-family dwelling, raised ranch style, with a two-car side-loading garage, and as my architect and engineer will testify to, the ability to access and exit from that garage element is a little bit tricky given the way the driveway feeds into that side-loading garage. So the garage itself doesn't have a lot of user-friendliness associated with it. What we'd like to do by way of this application is construct a two-story addition along the left side of the existing dwelling. The first floor, or essentially sub-level, because it's a raised ranch, providing for a front-loading two-car garage and a expanded living space on the first floor. Again, the only variance we need is relative to the combined side yard setback. I think of important factors while you hear the testimony. The height is still well below what's permitted. The zone allows for a maximum height of 35 feet, and under the post-build scenario, we'd be at 21.5 feet. We're well below the allowable building coverage, essentially 7% below the maximum allowable building coverage and 15% below the maximum FAR. So even though we don't meet the combined side yard setback, because of the undersized nature of the dwelling, we believe the lot still provides the anticipated amount of light, air, and open space. If I can, Madam Chair, our first witness is Frank Troy, our architect. If I can have him come up and be sworn.
Yes, please approach. Thank you.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right, so sworn. Please state your name, spell your last name for the record, and give us your business address.
Sure. My name is Frank Troia, Troia. Business address is 267 Pascack Road in Township of Washington for plan architecture.
You're licensed in the state of New Jersey?
I am.
Your license is in good standing?
It is.
You've appeared before hundreds of boards in the past?
I have, including this board, so
All right.
I've been fortunate enough.
I presume, is there
Thank
something-
you. Thank you. Please proceed.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, where would you prefer that we have the easel set so you can bring the microphone?
Oh, can we, Chris, can we bring one of those mics over there? Are they on?
Yeah, you can stay with the mics.
Definitely bring this up a little bit too.
Okay, yeah, that's fine, but as long as you can speak in.
Does this one work?
We need
Both of
lavaliers.
those work. Now you got
All right. Yeah, I got this one.
You should be okay there. Thank you.
Luckily, there's nobody behind me, so.
Frank, can you identify what you have on the easel there, please?
Sure. So this was just an enlarged copy of the survey that was submitted with the application. The survey depicts the lot and the development as it exists today. So as Mr. Capizzi was talking about, here's our skewed lot where it starts narrow and it extends as it goes towards the back. It becomes very wide because of the excessive width at the rear and the minimum width at the front. It does lead to a skewed average lot width, which again our engineer can testify more to. The house, as it's situated on the property, is situated somewhat in the middle. If you looked at the existing topography, it slopes up slightly from the curb line to a high point, which is about where the house is, and then it starts to slope back down. So we can understand why the house was more or less placed where it was when it was built, most likely. The existing driveway, it's really a narrow one-car width driveway. It's fairly long. Portions of it does currently encroach on the neighboring lot. It has a weird little hammerhead here at the back off of the side-loading garage, but as Mr. Capizzi testified to, due to the weird shape of it, the fact that it's side-loading, and it's not even a true side-loading because you're almost turning around because the way the house is angled, so it's not like the house is completely parallel to the road where you'd just be making a 90-degree. You're almost making more than a 90-degree turn to get into it. That mixed with it being difficult to back out of, and then just a long driveway being difficult to back down or pull down with walls on a couple sides of it, all that makes it a little difficult for the clients and homeowners. So that's our existing survey. I think as far as architectural reasons go, that's all I have to say about it. The engineer might testify more to the lot and its shape and how that relates to the variances we're requesting. So,
As far as the existing dwelling, it's a raised ranch?
yes, yeah, it is raised ranch, so the ground floor is, more or less a basement, for lack of better words. There's the garage down there, and I'll get into the plans. There's some unfinished storage space, which also acts as a laundry room, an office space, bathroom, and a small family room down there.
Thank you.
On the second floor. The first floor is where the living space is.
You could take us through your plan set, please?
Sure. So, the next sheet here this is the start of the architectural drawings that were submitted to the town. This sheet is VA 000. On this sheet, we show some color illustrations and renderings of the proposed improvements we plan to make. I'll briefly run you through these right now, then I'll probably come back to them at the end, but as you can see, the enhancements we're looking to make to this house extend a little bit beyond just the addition. We are also looking to update the house. It's a little bit dated with the old vinyl siding, the brick color from the 90s that is on a lot of homes. So while we're looking to make an addition, we're also looking to update the aesthetic of this house so it can contribute to the surrounding homes in the neighborhood and add to the value of that. We have a square footage chart on the side here. And the only number I really kind of want to focus on is this number 573. That's our first floor footprint. Effectively, it's the same number if you were to add up basement and garage, but the total addition is 573 square feet that we are looking and asking to add. As already stated, we're well below building coverage, well below the allowable FAR that would be permitted on this size lot.
Frank, just if we could stay with that page for a moment, the photograph that's on the bottom right, does that illustrate the area that triggers the variance?
Yes, this area right here, this portion here, there, and then the rest are somewhat of the rear, but you can see in the rear where the variance is. So the addition, we are not proposing it to come above where the existing roof line is. It would match the existing roof line, so the structure will not be getting any taller, even though we are, again, well below the maximum building height. But we really just are planning to blend in the roof line with the existing roof line as best possible to make it seem like, the house was built this way 30 years ago and there was no addition added to it.
Thank you.
No problem.
Can I just ask a question before you turn the page? Is it fair to say that the section where you're requesting a variance is essentially the area where the family appears to be turning what you said it's like more than a 90-degree angle to get into the
Yes,
garage?
correct.
Is that correct?
Yeah, so, and again, this is illustrated better on the engineering drawings, but essentially, we're proposing this addition, more or less over existing impervious coverage that is the driveway.
It's the driveway,
Correct,
yeah.
So, yeah, we're really, we're adding a little bit of impervious coverage. When we add it, we're still under, but we're really not even adding that much to what was currently already there. All of these are reasons why we thought this was the ideal place to add it, rather than somewhere in the back here where, there's topography issues. Even though it's not depicted on the survey, the dwelling on this lot is kind of turned, so it is like the front of the house is facing the side of this house, so, just trying to keep development away from that, to respect that neighbor, still maintaining the, one side yard setback. We felt we were maintaining the proper distance from the property line to the neighbor to the other side.
It's not an issue with the side yard setback, it's an issue with the combined side yard setbacks.
Yeah.
It's the combined, they meet the requirements for a minimal side yard setback. And if the building was pushed any further back, they would exceed the requirements for impervious coverage. So, right, if they pushed it any farther back, then the driveway gets longer, so then it just ends up on the impervious coverage.
Thank you. The next sheet I flipped to here is VA 100, and this is just to show the existing plans of the house as it currently is today. So on the drawn on the right-hand side, that is the ground floor, which is the basement. You have your side loading garage here. Through the garage, you enter into a pretty much the only storage, real storage space in the house. It's unfinished. It's also part of the laundry room. So they really don't have a proper entry. It's just a door in. That then leads into the family room. They have an office down on this level with a full bathroom, and that also has a walkout to the rear yard. There's a few steps out here that get you up to grade. If you come up the stairs here, the existing home, it's a 3-bedroom home. One of the bedrooms does have an ensuite, which is being currently used as the primary suite for the homeowners. The other 2 rooms are occupied by their 2 children. And then we have a formal living room off of your dining room and kitchen room, which are located at the back of the house. Also, the existing entry to the home, the main entrance that guests would use, it's serviced off of these stairs on the front that comes up to just a relatively small platform. It's not really covered. So one of the improvements we are making with this entire application, it's not requiring a variance, but we are adding a full covered formal porch to add a little bit more safety covered areas for guests, packages, all these things to enter into the home. Flipping to the next sheet, this is VA 200. This is that basement ground level floor again. And actually on here I can illustrate the setbacks as it relates to the house with our addition. So this solid darker color line that goes around here, those are the required setbacks. So as you can see, we are respecting this side yard setback with our addition. The addition, the size of the garage that we're proposing, it's a modest two-car garage. It's only about 20 feet in width, which is really more or less the minimum you want to be for a 2-car garage. But we wanted to make sure we respected as many of the bulk regulations as possible. But it's really essentially taking this footprint, better or worse, and relocating it there. We haven't spent too much time talking about the design of the basement because we wanted to see first if this would be approved, understanding we were going to be requesting a variance. But the existing garage space, the conversations we have had thus far are to basically turn that into a proper mudroom, some finished storage for coats, seasonal items, and then maybe if there's area left over for like a small game room or something for the family to utilize. But no conversations have been talked about adding another bedroom down there or anything like that. It would just to be at a little bit more formal space to the house so that this can remain just the unfinished storage space. That's where the utilities are. So we just wanted to give them a little bit more function to their basement as they use the house today. The addition, again, is more or less highlighted by this area shaded in gray. Again, it comes 20 feet off the house here. It does not even come to the same depth of the existing house. It's only 25 foot 2 deep, with then another 30 inches, say, off the back for this little bump out here, which would just, again, serve for a little bit of extra storage in your garage for a lawnmower or some, yard equipment, et cetera. Flipping to the next sheet up on VA 201, this is the first floor of the house, so we're really not touching any of the existing house here. Again, we talked about does it make sense to make the addition in the back? As Mr. Steele already alluded to, it would be adding more impervious coverage, but it also would be adding just unnecessary construction costs to the house, because in order to get an addition back here for another bedroom, we would have to figure out how to get access back there. That would disrupt the current bedrooms. And again, it would just lead to a less efficient addition and less efficient in
Can you just take us through the parameters
feasibility.
of what we're doing on the first floor,
Of course. So our addition, again, is focused over here, and we're really just adding a primary suite that has a little bit more closet space than what they currently have, has a little bit of a larger bathroom than what they currently have, and then that also allows them now to have a guest bedroom for when visitors come. They currently have 2 kids, and they really don't have a space since the room in the basement is being used as a full-time office.
Does that follow
Work from home office.
Does
but-
that addition follow the sub-level?
It does. The addition completely follows the addition of the garage below. There's
Thank
no
you.
overhang or anything like that.
If you could take us through the elevations, please.
Yep. Flipping to the next sheet, VA 500. At the top here, we have the front elevation. So this piece over here with this one gable here, that is what we're proposing to add. We add a little bit of relief here by pushing it in a little bit, having a bump out that has another hip roof over it to give a little bit more accentuation on the fact that it's centered on the garage doors. This is that front porch area that I was alluding to. So, for we're basically keeping the front door in the same space. We're turning the stairs, so now that they come up to the house directly rather than parallel with the house. And then we're extending a porch across that entire area. We're going to be painting and refinishing the existing brick that's there, and then finishing the facade of the existing home with new board and batten siding, and then a mix of lap siding and board and batten siding, as well as some other architectural details with brackets, again, all just to enhance the aesthetic of the existing home.
The other elevation that's germane to the application is the left elevation?
That is the, well, this is the right side elevation.
Right, you can flip
Yeah.
the left elevation,
Yep,
please.
and that side is not there. Going to the right side elevation, so that's at the bottom of sheet BA 501. This is the elevation that we're talking about, so really, the only windows we're adding to that elevation are gonna be in the primary suite above. We're not proposing any windows on the garage level. There will be some steps that come up alongside that house to be able to get up from the lower level at the driveway up to the rear yard. And again, you can see we're really matching the roof lines. We're not proposing to come any taller. And just the same improvements that we're making with the materials on the front of the house, we will be wrapping around the entire house. And that concludes my drawings and my presentation of this.
Thank you so much. Thank you. At this time, we'll open it up to the board for questions just on the architectural aspect of this project. Mayor Scheinfeld?
My questions are actually more just related to the side, and, you know, you're looking for the variance on the, over there. You were denied because obviously you didn't come, you butted out towards the neighbors, I guess, on, I don't know how to, if you're looking at the house to the left, right? That's basically what we're looking at here?
Correct. Well, so there's there's the minimum side yard and then there's combined.
Right.
By coming out that way, we're increasing our setback, or, we're decreasing our setback to that property line, which is making us not conforming with the combined.
And there's no other way to do that so that you can make sure, I mean, you're picking up space because you're basically flipping the garage space, right?
Correct.
But there's no way to make up for a short gap, short of moving the home further back into the property.
Exactly, to get more of that width that you're alluding to,
Okay, that's really my only question there.
Thank you. Mr. Freeman?
Thank you. First, I just want to say I really appreciate your presentation. I think the drawings are very clear and the renderings are very helpful for this application. I did have a question. So the 10.2-foot setback from the left side, I think that's east, is that measured to the house or is that to the roof? The roof line?
I believe it's the house, but I would like to defer that to the engineer because he has the
Okay.
technical.
Would that be?
We can address, we can do that next round.
Okay. I guess we'll come back when, or maybe you could just explain, how deep are the roof lines?
I mean, we would be just matching what the existing are, but they look like they're anywhere from 18 inches to, this is to scale, so let me scale it.
They do look pretty deep, that's why.
Yeah, they're just about 18 inches, so 1.5 foot overhangs. And again, I believe, or I shouldn't say I believe, I know we're just matching what the existing overhangs were of the house and the existing roofs.
And Chris, Mr. Statiel, if you could just remind us, is the setback measured to the roof line or is it to the?
The farthest point of the house, which would be the roof line.
Okay.
We usually exclude the gutters, but yeah, we would include the gutters. Yeah, it would be, so you'd have to reduce the setback from 10.2 to whatever the overhang is, so yes.
There's no projection allowed for eaves?
No, not that size anyway. I don't think, like Brookville's got a 6-inch, there's a threshold of 6 inches here, there's not in Hillsdale. So it's just the farthest extent of the building.
All right. So we'll come back to this, I guess, with the engineer, but I have no other questions. Thanks.
Thank you. Ms. Guzman?
Yeah, do we have any information about the neighbors on that side? as far as their understanding?
We had dialogue with them, and they did not have an issue with it.
Okay.
Thank you. And obviously, no trees are coming down, correct, for this project?
No, because the addition's pretty
Right,
much-
just double checking. Okay, Mr. Alter, go ahead.
A couple of questions. You had mentioned that the current driveway encroaches on the neighbor's property right now.
It does.
So will the expanded driveway still encroach on the neighbor's property?
It will not. We're actually moving the driveway away from the property line, because with the new configuration, I think we pull it about 12 feet off the property line. But pretty much our new driveway will, instead of wrapping up this way and coming in, it's just gonna go straight out. I mean, I think there's a slight curve on it. Again, it's depicted on the engineering drawings, that they can show you, but no, we're not gonna be encroaching anymore. We're gonna eliminate
Is there a
that.
fence on that side of the property?
No. My recollection, no fence.
Okay, let's move on. You didn't talk at all about any stormwater management with drainage coming off the new roof?
Our civil engineer.
That's,
will
and we
address
have an engineer coming up.
Okay, all right, thank you. I'm done.
Okay, thanks. Mr. Reardon?
I'm sorry, you see me?
Yes.
I apologize.
That's okay.
Just for the record, there are 3 trees coming down, so we'll return to that. There's
Oh, okay.
Not where the proposed addition is, I apologize. Again, I should have just deferred to engineering.
just
Okay.
3 X's, tree to be removed, typical of 3. So that's all. Just so
Thank
we
you.
circle back to that.
Thank you.
During the design development, were you a design architect on this, or are you just doing?
I dealt with a little bit of design on it, and,
I'm just wondering what drove the design. Is it the garage or is it the master suite?
it was a little bit of both. It was, what made sense with the site for where garage and driveway would be located, and then again, if we were to design a master suite, where would be the best location for that as well. And, again, with budget being in mind, as far as the best feasibility to add this addition, it would be to not, affect any of the existing portion of the house, which we are not affecting any, they're not touching that portion.
The reason I'm asking is, the garage is too small to be a 2-car garage. With interior dimensions, you're at 19.9 without the stem wall. It's a big 1-car garage, and we've had this before, that's why I bring it up, because I know why you're gun shy, because you got the side yard right there, the rear yard right there.
100%, yeah.
I'm leery, because people go into this, and then, we've sent people back to redesign to get a true 2-car and see.
Because you're saying it's not going to work as is.
And it's just 19.9 on the interior stuff.
Yeah. I hear what you're saying. I've had a dozen and 10 conversations over the years with this. If you think about a typical parking space, it's 18 by 9, so you take 9 times that by 2, it's 18 feet. I agree, there's overhang space in the next spot, but from what they're looking for and what we've discussed with them, it would function for them. And then that being said, I've seen a handful of, 19, 20-foot garages that are marketed and sold as 2-car garages, so.
Marketing and sold.
Yeah.
Well, I would just, I would put that out there for consideration.
For sure,
if you're going
I
through all
appreciate
this.
you bringing that up.
And then, what was the other thing? Up in the primary suite. I just think that would also, obviously, a little more room would help that with the closet space and everything, so.
We can certainly
That was
discuss
my
that.
only questions. A great design, and I
Yeah, again, our
appreciate
biggest-
it, but you are locked in by the constraints of this
We
setback
totally
line. There
are,
is
and
no
we're
doubt
not
about
trying
that.
to be too egregious with what we were requesting.
That's all I got. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Mr. Smarko?
No questions.
Okay. Mr. Grebe?
Probably didn't drink enough coffee today.
You and me both.
So I just want to be clear, the variance is for the side yard setback aggregate, right? But so you're saying that this design would be compliant with the requirement for the side yard setback on that side of the property?
I think what we just learned as a result of the roof overhang, we're going to be violating it by a foot or so.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you would need 2 variances?
Correct.
I believe so, it sounds like.
I too appreciate the design. I think it's very tasteful and well done. And I don't have any more questions at this point.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
At this time, I'll open the meeting to the public. If there's anyone from the public that has questions for this architect. Seeing none, I'll close the meeting to the public, and we'll move on to our next witness. It's okay, Mr. Capizzi. Do you have another witness, correct?
Yeah, my engineer just wanted to take 2 minutes just to discuss an item with me. Can we take a quick break?
Yeah, let's take like a 5-minute break. Sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, pause right there. We're going to start up. Tell me when you're ready to time me. It's okay. Okay, we are back. Mr. Capizzi, do you have an update for us?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So given the numerical issue where we didn't take the setback to the proper point, as well as the realization that perhaps the two-car garage will have some functionality issues, we'd like to take the moment to revisit the plan set and perhaps actually expand the volume of that area by a foot or two so that it would become a realistic, true function two-car garage, update the plan set, bulk table and so forth, and come back next month because we will have some new variances. I'll be renoticing to illustrate the modified form of application, and we'd like to come back and see you in July.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Lehman, do you want to?
All right, so what's the date that we're going to be carried to? He won't get this done.
You guys just get delayed on the road.
That's that.
July 11th. We got nothing.
We're leaning towards July 11th because we have a very big hearing. We have a long hearing on our next meeting. How will July 11th work for you?
July 11th, I have according to my calendar, I have another matter that night in another municipality.
I'm sorry, does 11th work for you? Or not?
Unfortunately, I'm already booked.
Yeah.
So what's the next date?
The next day would be July 23rd. Your engineer said he's free.
I'll figure out my calendar.
You should, what, I mean, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's going to renotice. You need to make an announcement?
Yeah, let me just put it in
Oh,
the calendar.
okay.
All right, so this application is being adjourned to July 23rd at 7:30 PM. There will be no further notice, not in the newspaper, not in the mail. This is the only notice. The meeting will be continued. We have the applicant's consent to extend the time for the board to act between now and that time?
You do.
All right, thank you.
Thank you all for the time and input this evening. Take
Thank
care.
you so much. Thank you. We appreciate it. And we'll see you next month. Yes.
We switched Tuesday.
Thank you very much.
Excuse me 1 second, Mr. Capizzi, do you have the original notice copies?
Let me take a look. I don't think I have it in my file. Typically, they mail them to the borough.
She said Gloria said you give them to me. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you for your time. We have two brief discussion items. First of all, the council voted Tuesday, I believe, I saw it on our recommendations, correct?
The ordinance passed, second read. There is now 50% requirement of width, whatever, see-through, in frontage fence, no chain link fence in the front yard, and thank you for your input.
Thank you for
made it
your
through.
response. We also have been discussing having applicants check off and sign that they're giving the board permission to visit their property, that they do that with the application. We have a form. We were looking at sample forms. I don't think the board needs to vote on the actual one, correct? Or do you recommend we do?
I don't think it matters.
I've already sent them out to
Okay, so we have a version circulating.
all
Thank,
the new, any of the people who have from here on.
yes.
Tanya,
It's,
is that thanks Rivervale from their list?
Yeah. No, I think it was that.
Okay.
Yes, I think we used the one from
River Edge.
Ed's
It was
Board
a
in
river.
Riverville. River Edge, sorry. And one other item, we have a subcommittee that's working on our checklist, looking that over, and I believe we've scheduled them at the end of the next meeting, correct, Stephen, to loop us in on where they
Yeah,
are?
Dan and I are just finalizing some shooting ideas back and forth, and we'll have a final red line thing. We'll print it out and just go over it, compare it to our existing one, and see what little updates we could do, and I think just clarification, really.
Yeah, and as we said, you'd send that to Tanya too, because she may have some items
Yeah,
possibly.
we're just trying to be
ask her.
considerate in when people need an architect or not. You know, it's not fair to, for a fence or, you know, a small, trying to separate things from site improvements to actual physical, you know, variance of the construction.
Yeah.
What's on the next agenda? You said that we have a long.
We have a hearing that could take, it could take a while, but it's one hearing. It's just one hearing. It's a resident.
Okay.
I mean, we'll get through it that night. It won't be, we'll talk about it now, but it may take a while.
Got it.
Thank you. Yours shouldn't take that long. Yeah. Okay, very good. Thank you. Any other business that, Mayor, anyone wants to address this time? Tanya, we're good? Okay, well then, thank you, everyone. I'll open the meeting to the public. Is there anyone who would like to come before us? Seeing none, I'll close the meeting to the public. And I will take, our next public hearing is Tuesday, June 25th, right here, 7:30, Borough Hall, Council Chambers. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second. Thank you, everyone. Good night.